Hello, dear student. Today I will start the new chapter for our class 9th student, and that is the biodiversity. In the new chapter, definitely I would be reaching to different subparts of this biodiversity, and this is very important because when you start the study of biology, so we begin with the meaning of biology. Bios means life, study means logos means study. So these two words, bios and logos, is telling us the study of life. And as far as the life form is concerned, there are two types, two main life forms, that is plant kingdom and animal kingdom. So beginning with the biodiversity, I will tell you different parts of the biodiversity and different topics of the biodiversity. What is the importance of biodiversity? What is the significance? What are the different parts of the biodiversity? What is importance? What is the significance? So when we start any chapter, it's very important to understand the introductory knowledge. Introductory knowledge, how we begin, how we start, that is very important for all of us. So before beginning that introductory part, let us see the meaning of this term. First is bio and second term is diversity. So biodiversity means the variety of the life forms, the variation of different life forms. It means when we start the biodiversity, we should see the variation of different life forms, whether it is plant or animals. So when you start the biodiversity, it's very important to understand the classification of this biodiversity. Since it is very new topic for our 9th class students, first time you are going to understand the classification. So very important for you to understand how we are going to classify these plants and animals. How we will classify, what are the basis of classification, what are the groups, what are the category of classification, you have to understand. On what basis we are going to classify? Suppose there are students, there are children of different age group. So how we divide into different classes in different sections? There would certainly some base, on the basis of their height, on the basis of their age group, we will allot them different classes, different sections. So same thing happen in the biology. As we are going to start the classification, there are some basis, there are some parameter on which we are going to classify different plant and kingdom. So when we start the biodiversity, it's very interesting to know the different basis on which basis we are going to classify all these plant and animal. So suppose when you are reaching at any place, you can notice what are the different types of flora, means plants, categories are there, and what are different types of animals, categories are available in that area. So what is the flora of that area, and what is the fauna, F-A-U-N-A, flora and fauna, these two terms are there, and you have to understand the meaning of the different terms. In the biology, it's very important to know the meaning. On the basis of your term, you can easily understand classification, because when I will be teaching you, I will be giving my lecture like a different phylum, different class, different animals, different family, genus and species is there. So you will be getting some tough words first time in your life. As you know, I'm just going to tell you that Bryophyta, Pteridophyta, Gymnosperm and Angiosperm. So what is the easy way to understand the classification? That is to calibrate, to break these terms into two terms. I mean, when there is one word like the biodiversity, I already explained that the bios means life and the diversity means variation. So when we are going to study the different forms of life, what are the plant kingdom, what are the animal kingdom, what are the different types of plants and animals are there, we have to complete that study. So beginning with the classification, it's very important. Why we study the classification? The first thing, what is the importance of classification? To make our study simple and easy. Why we go for this classification? Without classification, there will not be complete study of any plants and animal. There would be doubt in our mind that sometime if we are going to give a certain place to one plant and if it is falling in other place also, so there would be doubt. So to make our study simple and easy, we will certainly classify the plants and animals on the basis of their shape, size, on the basis of their mode of structure, mode of nutrition, on the basis of their cellular life, I mean unicellular, multicellular. There are some plants and animals which are showing the characteristics of two phylum, two classes. So they will be kept in one another category. They would be kept in the connecting link. As I told you in some my classes that the lichen is the connecting link between algae and fungi. It is showing the characteristics of algae as well as fungi. So it is going to show that it is going to be kept in the connecting link. As you know, you have heard the euglena. Euglena is an animal which is showing the two characteristics. So euglena is connecting link between plants and animals. It shows the photosynthesis process because it has chlorophyll. So it is playing role of plants and it's also playing role of animal because some characters are like animals character. So some plants and animals are also kept in the connecting link. It's very important. It's a very interesting chapter to understand the biodiversity. So the first one is classification. What is the process? Classification? Dividing into different classes, dividing into different groups is called classification, in which we are going to classify. It is a process in which plants and animals are grouped into different categories, into different groups. That is called classification. Importance: to make our study simple and easy, to make our study complete, to bring it in complete form, we will be dividing into different class and different groups. Now, the basis of classification, very important, because without any base, we will not classify. There would be a certain base, like the first base of the classification is the first one is mode of nutrition, whether they are autotrophs, whether heterotrophs. On the basis of their, if they are autotrophs, they will be kept in the different category. If they are unable to make their food, that would be the heterotrophs. So the first basis of the classification is mode of nutrition. Number two, cellular level, means the animal or plants are unicellular or multicellular. If they are simple, they will be kept in the unicellular, like amoeba, euglena, paramecium, they are unicellular. But when the animals and plants are multicellular, they are in the complex form, so they will be kept in the multicellular level. Okay? And the third one is their habitat. Living place. So habitat means living place where they are present. They may be aquatic. If they are present in the water, they are called aquatic plants and animals. And if they are present in the dry area, in the dry conditions, they will be known as xerophytic plants. So when they are found, they are present in the dry conditions, they are called xerophytic. So aquatic and terrestrial animal, you can say. Terra conditions means the dry area. When they are found, when they are present in the dry area, they will be called as aquatic or terrestrial. So on the basis of these three bases, we will classify different plants and animals. So when we start the classification, certainly there would be a certain base, and on that basis we will be classified. And why this is universal means the classification is universally equal. It is in all over universe, all over country, that every plants and animals, they have certain place, they have their own classes, own family, own kingdom. It does not mean that some plants and animals are kept in our country, it is kept in the plant kingdom, and in other country it is kept in the animal kingdom. So it is very important. And for that also, one important thing I would like to tell you, that the binomial nomenclature, the scientific naming system. Binomial nomenclature means we will give a certain name. It is a process in which we give a certain name. Like in the scientific naming, every plants and animals is known by their scientific name, and it is universally one name is there. Like human's name is homologous. So there are scientific name. One example I would like to tell you why it is called binomial nomenclature. Every scientific name is made up of two words. The first word is telling the name of genus, and second word represents the species. The first name is genus always, and one international coding for this nomenclature, that every first name, the first name always begins with the capital letter, and second name begins with the small letter. Like Triticum acetium, I'm just telling you the wheat, scientific name of wheat, Triticum acetium. So T begins with the capital letter, Triticum acetium. Okay, like Rana tigrina, the frog name. So first one is genus, and the second one is species name. And you will see in the international nomenclature coding, there are some rules, regulations, that every scientific name is always written with the capital, begins with the capital letter. You can see Rana, and you can see the Tigrina. Rana is the representing, it's a genus name and it's a species. When we go for the classification, it's very important to know the hierarchy, that when you write your address, you write your name, you write your town, you write your home number, house number, town, then district, then state, and then India, and then country. So same way, when we start the classification, before giving any name, we will write the complete address of that plant and animal, and that is, we will begin, a certain hierarchy is there, and we will begin with the kingdom. So what are the hierarchy? I will tell you in the naming, before naming, that is also very important to know the hierarchy. So in classification, the first thing, hierarchy. Hierarchy. Hierarchy means you have to see the biggest category, biggest, then smaller than that. So you will be noticing, the first we will write kingdom, then phylum, phylum in the animal, and when we will begin the division in plants, so it is very important, when we will start, we will notice that the number one is kingdom, then phylum or division, okay, then class, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, after class, order, family, the smallest unit is species. As I told you, look at this. The second last is genus, and the last is species. So always we start that which kingdom we will write, as we are going to start the human classification. So we will write the kingdom, their animal kingdom, then phylum, their phylum name. It belongs to mammals, mammalia, then class, okay, then order, then family, and then genus and species. The last two names will represent the scientific name. As I was telling you that how you can write the scientific name, there would be responsibility for my student that you have to write 5 plants scientific name of 5 plants, and scientific name of 5 animals. It is for you. So when we start the hierarchy, so which the one is written first, the kingdom, the second one after kingdom, the phylum, which phylum does it belongs, whether it is plant and animal. When we are going to write about the plants, we will mention the division, and when we are going to write the classification of animal, we will mention the phylum, and the third one, which class does it belong. Okay, so kingdom, phylum, class, order, and after that which order does it belongs, and then which family does it belongs, and after that the 6th number hierarchy is genus name, which always begins with the capital letter, and the last one is species name. So for completing your these introductory knowledge, you have to mention the any 5 scientific. You will search, you will see from the book, you can see online the scientific name, and it's in the international naming system. Since you know the always the every scientific name is made up of 2 words. The first is representing the genus, and second one is a species. And more than that, if you are beginning your first genus name with a small letter, that is wrong. In the international coding, it's very clear that the genus name always start with the capital letter, and the species always start with the small letter and italics also. So when you want to get full marks, you will be writing in this way. You will be writing in the italics forms. So in classification, it's a very important to write in the correct way. The international coding, international naming is very, very important. And when you start at the beginning movement, you should clear your doubt that in the classification, when we will start the classification of plant and animal, so at the beginning session, it would be very important to understand the international coding, international naming, scientific name, and how does it start, how does it begins. Since every scientific name is made up of two words, first is genus, representing the genus, second one is species. So you always write, the first letter should be capital letter, like homo and logos. So homo, H is capital letter, and L start always with the small letter. So in this way, you can easily understand that the scientific name is international naming system. Like in the chemistry, you know, IUPAC. So in the biology, you will be knowing the binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature? Binomial. Binomial nomenclature means by two. Every scientific name is made up of two words. First word represents the genus and second represents the species. When we are going to write, never forget that we will write the genus name, we will begin with the capital letter, and species name always start with the small letter. So this was the binomial nomenclature. Sometime there would be question that what is binomial nomenclature? Write any two scientific name, write the scientific name of two plants and two animals. So it would be in your hand that how you can write without committing any mistake. You have to start the nomenclature, you have to start the importance. The binomial nomenclature has its importance that entire word, any plants and animal scientific name is one. It should not be there that in one country it is named by some other name and in another country it could be named by some other name. So for uniformity, the binomial nomenclature, valid nomenclature system is given. Okay. So it was in the first lecture, in the introductory knowledge, you will see in the biodiversity, it is the variety of life forms, the variation of life forms. What is this? Variation So variations of life forms means we will study. You know that in entire universe, entire world, more than 1.7 millions of species of plant and kingdoms are available in the world. So when we start the classification, it is very important to understand the some term. As I was telling you in the beginning movement, that you have to notice the Latin word. There are some tough words are there, like when we will go for the classification, there would be the first term for the 9th standard, that would be the 5 kingdom division system. When I will start in my next lecture that what is the 5 kingdom classification system. 5 kingdom division system means entire plant and animals are classified into 5 category, into 5 groups, into the 5 kingdom like Monera, Protista, Plantae, Fungi and Animalia. So there would be 5. Number 1, Monera, Protista, Plantae, Fungi and Animal. And it is matter of discussion that why you are going to keep the fungi and plant into different category. So in the 5 kingdom division system, we will notice almost all plants and animals at their different groups, at different category. So when we start, because in the biology it's a backbone, the main important part to understand the classification. because it covers a lot. In class 9th, you will start with the classification. What is the importance of classification? Why we do this classification? What is the binomial nomenclature? Okay, the scientific naming system, and we will be doing the noticing the hierarchy of different plants and animals. So when we start the classification, we will notice the kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. And in this category, we will also write the name of plants and animals. So when you start any topic and chapter, before starting any topic and chapter, it's a very important to know the definition. Like the first question could be there, what is biodiversity? Okay, what is the importance of biodiversity? What is hierarchy? To keeping the different plants and animals into certain category. Is this process is known as keeping in different category, different taxa, different groups. And there is hierarchy, means which one is the smallest unit. Like the smallest unit is, look at this. So you can write the unit of classification. You can write, yes, here you can write unit of species. Look at this. Which is the smallest unit? Which is the biggest unit? The kingdom. We always begin with the kingdom. As I told you that when you write your address completed, you mention your name first, then house number, then street, then town, then district, then state, and then your country name. So same way, when you start the classification of plant and kingdom, you will be beginning with the kingdom, then phylum, then class, and in this category you will be reaching to the downside, and the smallest unit of classification is species. Okay, so at the last moment, at the end, I would like to give you some assignment on this lecture, what questions you could write. And when you start the biodiversity, when you start the classification, you should notice and you should create interest to classify different plants and animal into different category. Like when you go in the lab, when you reach to your garden, you can classify these which categories of herbs, which categories of shrubs, which are bryophytes, which are pteridophytes, which one is gymno, which one is flowering flowering category plants, which one is kept in the non-flowering, means cryptogamous is phanerogamous, phanerogamous. There are two categories of the plants, cryptogamous, non-flowering, and phanerogamous. All flowering plants are kept. So it is very interesting chapter, interesting topic for you. But before starting your chapter, you should ready with your introductory knowledge, with your definitions, with your scientific name of plants and animals, and what is the binomial nomenclature, how you can write the correct scientific name of plants and animals. It will bring confidence in you. So my dear student, after clearing the grade 8th, when you are reaching to the 9th, means higher studies, you are going to begin your higher studies, and when you start the biodiversity, the classification chapter, you should take sufficient time to make your foundation strong, to make your the beginning knowledge for any chapter, it should be very, very strong, firm. So I am going to give you 5 questions for the assignment. I am sure that you have enjoyed this lecture, and at the end you can write these 5 questions. Number 1. Define these. A. Biodiversity. And number 2, classification. So you have to give the definition of biodiversity, you have to write the classification, about classification, definition of classification. Number 2, what is importance of classification, writes its significance, writes its importance. Number 3, you will write what are the basis of you will write any 3 bases of classification, as I explained what are the 3 bases of classification. And number 4, what is binomial nomenclature? What is binomial nomenclature? Giving scientific name is called binomial nomenclature. In this, we give any scientific name is made up of 2 words. We make the scientific name with the 2 words. First word represents the genus and second one is a species. And the 5th question, write scientific name of any plants, any 2 plants and animals. Write scientific name of any 2 plants and any 2 animals. Okay, so for today's lecture, this was the complete introductory knowledge of the classification of the biodiversity. Thank you.